The weather dropped sharply. Mulder and the children all put on thick clothes to resist this cold weather. On this cold morning, Mulder and his 4 children woke up from bed. Mulder found fog on the tarpaulin on the roof, even penetrated the tarp. The dripping mist has wet the carpet. Mulder looked up at the roof, feeling very anxious and worried. Mulder's youngest son, Abbas. Maybe it's because the temperature inside the house is constantly dropping. It may cause children to be unable to withstand the cold and get sick. The small stove in the house has also been extinguished. Mulder must take action as soon as possible. Mulder worries his family will get cold due to falling temperatures. To bring more warmth to the family, Mulder's eldest daughter, Sana, wet quilts and blankets. Make room. Dark clouds in the sky. It indicates that heavy rain is coming. Gives people a dull and gloomy atmosphere. Moody quickly bought a large stove. Although it is a second-hand stove, the warmth brought by the stove to the family. After placing the oven, Moody began to assemble the chimney part. The chimney will soon be installed. Mulder discovered that the height of the stove was inappropriate. In order to make the stove function better, he needs to ensure that the chimney is positioned so that it can clear. Moody asked his eldest daughter Sana to find some suitable. The eldest daughter, Sana, has also been helping her father. After the stove has been installed, Moody began to prepare firewood. Thicker trunks will burn longer. He must know. Because now the sky has begun to rain lightly. Hurry up and let the stove come up. Poor Rukia is still barefoot. I kept standing by and watching my father. After the stove in the house is turned up, then began to lay the roof of the previous house. Mulder climbed onto the roof and adjusted the reed poles. Blankets and clothes. Spread them on the reed poles. Although these abandoned items are somewhat worn out, they have become valuable resources. Try to make these blankets and clothes. To ensure the waterproof performance of the roof, found some discarded pieces of cloth and clothing for my father. After laying waste fabrics, it's really bad luck that only seeks out the miserable. Moody and his daughter Sana continued to work despite the rain. However, he found that the tarp was too big. At this time, he decided to ask his eldest daughter to go to the roof to help. Help Dad cut tarp together. Mew and Sana worked hard. After cutting out all the tarpaulins, they carefully unfolded the tarp, slowly waterproofed the uneven, adhered to discarded fabrics and clothing to ensure the waterproof performance of the roof. Mulder and his daughter Sada. On the roof, they carefully unfolded and secured the tarp. Make sure it fits snugly on the roof, Mulder realized. They also need to cover it tightly with sand. So Mulder picked up the shovel. Shovel up, sand. He operated it carefully. Make sure the sand is evenly covered on the tarp. Soon, the tarpaulin on the roof was completely covered with mud and sand. Ensure that it can effectively block the invasion of rainwater. After Mulder finished laying the roof, Mulder picks up the broom. He carefully cleaned every corner. After Moody swept out all the mud and sand in the house, by the way, also put the stones on the platform. After all cleaning is done, Mulder briefly cleaned it. Sediment on hands and face. My daughter, Sana, has already prepared lunch. As soon as Mulder entered the room, he started eating voraciously. Mulder must finish eating quickly. Move all the quilts to the new house. Wood wraps omelet in flatbread. After eating a few simple bites, pick up the stove first. Walk quickly towards the new house. Therefore, the speed of the wood must be as fast as Rugia. Also holding a blanket in the new house, Sister Sana hugged her brother Abbas and followed behind. After letting go of my brother, after moving most of the necessary things here, Mulder worries about the impact on his children's health. So I decided to do it as soon as possible. He carefully inspected every part of the stove. Make sure they are all intact. Determine the location of the chimney. Put the stove up again. Ah, ah. Ah. After Nord installed the stove and lit a fire, flames leap in the hearth, releases warm and bright light. Mulder used the stove to cook a pot of hot tea for his family. The fragrance of tea fills the room, makes you feel peaceful and warm. Mulder poured the brewed hot tea into the cup. Fragrant. Mulder and the children sat around the stove, sharing the warmth of this cup of hot tea. Mulder and family tonight. They believe As long as you have the company and care of your loved ones, they can get through any difficulty.